More people should be playing this. Years ago I bought this game and loved pretty much everything about it. The atmospherics, audio design and the art style was like nothing I'd seen from a video game before. 5 years on, it still holds up and it's only getting better. Hunt Showdown released in early access in 2018 and was a little lighter on content back then, but nevertheless was still a fun game to play. 5 years later, Crytek and their team behind Hunt have worked on this game, pushing out updates, 2 new maps, weapons and some weird ass bosses, and the player base has been growing each year, which is awesome to see, and it's getting up there with the most played Steam games. If you played Hunt Showdown, then you know exactly what I mean when it comes to atmosphere and audio quality. And even graphically, after 5 years, this game still looks better than most of my Steam library games. If you haven't played Hunt, then now is a great time to do so. Up until the 8th of March, it's got 60% off on Steam, and there's multiple places where you can grab it at a discounted rate. Hunt is an extraction royale type game, set in 1895 in the Louisiana Bayou. With zombies, monsters, and obviously other players, it leads for a rather exciting game overall. I mentioned the audio earlier, and Hunt dials audio up to 100 compared to most first-person shooters. The sound cues in this game are absolutely awesome, and they are in abundance, from injured horses to glass, dogs, and even crows, that if you trigger them by going near them, they squawk their merry selves away, audibly and visually giving your position away to other hunters. So a light step can be a wise move, that's for sure. And talking of audio, Hunt has something I've not seen in any other game, and that's a gun range, but for audio. So we'll say an audio gun range, that makes more sense. So as you can see here, you can select any weapon and then scroll out to hear how that weapon sounds, all the way up to 1,000 meters, like this. Now this is pretty handy to play with, as you can quickly start recognizing weapons and ranges if you wanted to know what you were going into or what's coming at you. A rather useful tool in my opinion. On the topic of weapons, the weapons are mainly old school rifles and pistols, as it's in the 1800s setting, so the slow firing and accuracy is a must. There are plenty of variants however, like the Deadeye, which is a scoped rifle, crossbows, shotguns, and even a Mosin that's modded to fire in auto. Kinda cool. There's training missions in the game currently where you can practice, as well as challenges to learn the skills before you head into the main game mode. The devs are currently planning to make the learning areas a little bit easier moving forward to allow new players to find their feet quicker before they enter the Bayou against other hunters. The main game mode is the bounty hunt, where teams are put on the map and you have to use what's called your dark sight to find clues and then find the boss. Kill the boss, you can gain a bounty, and then hightail to an extraction point to get out with said bounty. At this point you will be marked on the map for other hunters to track you and try and take that bounty from the clutches of your tired, bloodied hands. If you do die in this mode, you do lose that character, all its levels and all the gear you brought in, which can often lead to high stakes if you're using a character you like. You can compete in this mode solo, duos, or even as a 3, and it's actually really good fun with friends. On top of the main mode, you have a solo quick play mode which pits you and other hunters against each other to effectively be the last one standing. Along the way you will need to gather clues using the dark sight. The first to 4 clues becomes the wellspring. As the wellspring, if you survive long enough, there is a countdown, then you win. And you can take that character and all the traits and weapons that you got in the quick play game into the main game, which is actually pretty neat, and they'll be then added to your roster, which you can see here. I've got a few guys in my roster at different levels and with different traits. The traits I'm talking about are these that are on screen now, and there's a fair amount, each with its own strengths and costs for them. They range from being able to carry 2 larger weapons, to moving faster in water, to taking less fall damage, and I think you can agree that the artwork here is pretty awesome. That art style also carries over to the monsterdom, which will tell you more about the monsters in the game and give you some lore, and overall it's all done rather well. So all in all, Hunt Showdown is still great 5 years on. With what seems to be a steadily growing player base, I hope more people do jump in. Crytek isn't stopping there either. Recent news came out that the game's engine will be getting upgraded this year at some point. Now this is a huge deal, as it means the devs are invested into the game just as much as the players are at this point. And that's amazing to see that a game this old is getting some much needed love. It will be moving from CryEngine 5.6 to 5.11, and although most of the changes will probably be on the dev side, it may mean more features and accessibility to add content that can then be added, which would obviously be a huge bonus to us playing. I am dying for Crytek to run with a spin-off to Hunt and make some sort of co-op shooter in this universe, hunting down evil and such, and I think throwing a good story in there and sticking to the roots that Showdown has, a game like that could actually have a pretty good player base. Let me know what you think of Hunt Showdown in the comments if you've played it. Let me know what your thoughts are, and if you haven't, are you tempted to give it a go? Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.